The deadline for local governments to opt out of having cannabis dispensaries and consumption sites is almost here. December 31st is the cutoff. So we had Channel 2's Rob Hackford tally up which towns and villages are saying no. Good evening, Rob.
Good evening, Kelly. There are 18 towns and villages that are opting out of having cannabis consumption sites and dispensaries within their limits in Erie County. 7 others that I found are only saying no to consumption sites, and some others are letting the state law do the work for them. Recreational adult use cannabis only became law back in March, but since then local governments have been holding public hearings nonstop, trying to figure out what their constituents want. The results?
We've had around, I think, 400 or 500 municipalities opt out of 15 or 1600. And that may sound like a lot, but in reality, when you look at it from a population perspective, the majority of people in New York State live somewhere that could potentially have a dispensary.
That's because most of the state's big cities, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and Buffalo, according to Cannabis Growers and Processors Association President Alan Gandelman, are by default opting in. Unlike the 25 Erie County towns and villages that either said no to both dispensaries and consumption or just one, the way the state law is written, unless your local government overrules it by December 31st, you're in the program. But without licensing and other info from the state, these places can't open quite yet.
It's hard to know how the regulations will play out. There's still a lot of stuff up in the air. And so when these regulations come out early next year, we'll have a little bit more details about what we can and cannot do around the state.
We're hoping to start a retail dispensary called the Helpful Cafe Cannabis Dispensary.
Thomas Snyder tried petitioning the town of Lancaster to let residents make the decision, but came up short. That isn't stopping him, however, from opening his business in another town.
We're engaged with the compliance team right now, and we are doing everything that we can possibly do to position ourselves in a good way once licenses become available.
But before product can be sold, Gandelman says his priority will be the growers.
We want to make sure if there are dispensaries that are going to open up sometime at the end of next year, the growers had a good head start and could actually have products, New York State grown and made products, to put on those shelves.
Well, that growing process can take between 6 and 9 months. And if you aren't sure what decision your town, village, or city made, especially outside of Erie County, the SUNY Rockefeller Institute has put together a cannabis opt-out tracker. I'll have that linked in this story on our website, along with links to our own research. For now, in the studio, Rob Hackford, Channel 2 News.